It's lovely to chat to you today for She Can. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So well, it's lovely to be here. Thank you very much, Steffi. My day job is I work as a placement agent. So with my colleague George Curtis, set up our business 4 years ago. We work with alternative investment funds and firms on their fundraisings in Europe. So that could be private equity funds, could be venture capital funds, it could be groups raising deal by deal capital and on a global basis. But we help introduce them to institutional clients in Europe. And I've been doing the same role at different businesses for probably the last kind of 15 years. And George and I 4 years ago decided that it was time to do this for ourselves rather than do it for other people. And so set up Platypus Partners. And I have to say, I've never thought I would set up my own business. I quite liked the security of working for someone else and not having to worry about who's going to pay to keep the lights on. But I think it was a combination of a really great business partner to do this with. And I think having had that years under my belt of doing this role, kind of feeling like, we could make it, we could be successful. So that's the day job, and the kind of night job or the home job is as a mother to 3 young boys and a wife.
I love that. And as many women, you have different roles. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today running your own company.
Well, that's a good question. In my 20s, I did so many different roles. So once I finished at university, I went and worked in an investment bank, decided that it was more kind of the department that I was in was not one for me. It was, I wanted to work with a team and I wanted to learn, and where I had been placed within the investment bank was very much a kind of eat what you kill, just not an environment that I was suited to in my, having just left university. So I left that. I tried straight afterwards, I think I tried market research, which was actually fascinating. So you'd go and kind of, we worked with some great products with Unilever, and it was kind of, understanding consumer behavior behind those products, what drove people to buy one product over the other. And I really enjoyed that, but decided that I had a bit of a travel bug in me. So then left that and went traveling around South America, came back from that, and I decided I wanted to try accountancy, which I should never have done. So back when I looked at being an accountant, we had to tie everything in with a little red pen, or red pencil, I should say. And my pencil was never sharp enough. So I was not organized, efficient. I mean, it was not a role for me. I don't know why I ever thought that accountancy would be I mean, I guess, with hindsight, it would be a fantastic credential to have for whatever you choose to do. But for me to get through 3 years of tying things in with a red pen would have been a disaster. So I tried all sorts of things before I found a role. It was actually a fund of hedge funds, but in the same job as I do now. So finding investors for a financial product. And my background at school was always in maths and economics, and I did statistics at university. So I have quite a good level, I guess, of numeracy and ability to understand financial products. But equally, I like working with people. So the selling of them or the marketing of them kind of was a natural fit for me. And so I found my groove, I guess. And having worked in so many different organizations for short periods of time, I spent a good kind of 5 years, maybe even longer, at one organization, and that kind of helped me find my path to Platypus Partners.
I love that. You tried so many different things,
Oh,
ruled
so
out
many
things you didn't like. That's a good way
So
of doing it.
yeah, and I think I mean, there's a fine line to tread, isn't there? But my view is always, don't be scared to say this isn't for me. I don't. I think it's really important to be happy, and if it's not making you happy, then it's time to think about something else. But equally, it's so difficult in this day and age to forge a career in your 20s, and if you're offered a job or a role, it's also quite important to try and stick with it. So I don't know what's right or wrong, but for me, I think I needed to try so many different things until I found something that worked and fitted for my character.
See, what motivates you in the morning, getting up? What gets you up?
So when I think about what gets me into the office and what drives me, I think it's I do get a bit of a buzz out of a success. So when work is going well and we're finding investors for our funds, then there is a bit of a kind of a buzz to that. Equally, having interesting managers to work with and to raise them capital. A lot of the people we work with are this is their first time they're kind of doing it by themselves. So they might have worked at a really big private equity fund, and now they want to take that leap and raise their own fund. And it can be quite daunting. So to help a manager in that kind of process and to help raise them capital, you get a real sense of achievement. And a lot of what these teams are doing are fascinating. The businesses they're investing in, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So I guess the kind of the buzz of the role and helping people and clients keeps me motivated. And I mean, you can't help but get out of bed when you've got 3 young boys who need breakfast and everything else before they get to school. So it's not too difficult to get out of bed. Although I must say, on Saturday and Sunday, I quite like having a bit of a lie-in.
G, what would you say is your superpower? What do you have that makes you successful in what you do?
So one of the superpowers I have is simply to be cheerful and keep a smile on my face as much as I can. And you know what, during the last year, when we have had endless meetings on Zoom and on Teams, it makes such a difference just to come on to these calls and meetings and have a smile and be upbeat. So it's not a superpower because everybody can do that, but I think that is, I think that's been really important forever, but particularly over the last couple of years. And then alongside that, it's simple things like be organized, be efficient, all the things that everybody can do. But so they're not super, but they're important powers, and they're kind of in my toolbox for work.
Yeah, which is so great. I completely agree. What would your top tips be for other women?
So one thing I think I learned quite early on after having started a family, and I mean, this goes, I'm sure so many people have said the same thing, but that you're never going to get the balance right. So don't beat yourself up about it, because I just think you cannot get home life and work life into a perfect balance. And I'd love to meet someone who says they can. But I think that's been really important for me to realize that's not going to happen. And also, importantly, I think don't beat yourself up about work if you choose to go and watch your son in a cricket match. You don't need to feel like you have to be working Monday to Friday, 7 till 7 or whatever that might be, to keep up. There is a bit of kind of give and take, and don't beat yourself up about taking some time out. Or on the other hand, your children won't remember if you spent Monday night at 8 o'clock on a Zoom call rather than reading them that last chapter of the book before they went to bed.
Such a good tip, G. I completely agree. And I think that many women are definitely sort of beating themselves up all the time.
Well, it's easy to do, but I just think it's maybe someone told me that, but I just think it's such a good thing to keep in the back of your mind that you'll never get the balance right.
Absolutely, yeah. Gee, what do you think? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, or what would your dream be to be at in 5 years' time?
So we set up this business 4 years ago, and I would love in 5 years' time to still be doing what I'm doing. So working as a placement agent with my business partner. Whether we want to grow that team within the next 5 years, I'm not so sure about. I really like the way things work now. You know, I have enough going on in my life that I don't want to necessarily be training people to, to take on our roles. But having said that, I think my business partner might be in a position and might want to start that journey of expanding the team somewhat. But I don't see us ever having kind of offices in America or in Asia and kind of trying to raise capital around the world. So from a business perspective, maybe progress, but not kind of expand dramatically. And from a home perspective, I would like to think that, I've continued with a happy family life with 3 children that are thriving and enjoying school and learning and playing sport, and hopefully see me and my husband as role models, and realize that working hard is important, and you don't become successful without hard work.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Dee. That's so inspiring. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much.